What's up, everybody? This is Nick.
This is Eric.
And Eric, today we have, once again, the Micro Mini Lightning Cast. I almost messed it up, but it's the Micro Mini Lightning Cast. It's 10 minutes to explain what we talked about in the longer cast. And once again, thank you for listening to the Micro Mini Lightning Cast, or even visiting the Pull Up a Chair website or YouTube or whatever you do to listen to this. Maybe Podbean, Stitcher, all the different things. So we are going to do this in 10 minutes on the longer cast. What did we talk about, Eric?
We talked about The Princess Bride.
And Eric, why did we talk about The Princess Bride?
The Princess Bride is one of my favorite, if not my most favorite, 80s movie. I love The Princess Bride. And honestly, I wish I knew more about it. So I said, let's bring it up on the podcast. But I always learn new things about the things I already love here on our own podcast.
All right. So the 30-minute, or however many, what was it?
10-minute?
40, no, how long was the original podcast?
50 minutes or so.
50 minutes. So here we go. Princess Bride, 50-minute podcast in 10 minutes. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Eric, what do you have to say about The Princess Bride?
It's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
I like the movie.
What did you learn about the movie, Eric? There's many things to talk about this movie. I will mention a few things. This was originally written by a gentleman by the name of Goldman, who actually wrote it as kind of he was trying to write the book, and he was having troubles writing it, so he did it as an abridged novel instead. And he came up with this other character, this what is it? I can't.
It was another Jewish name.
It was another
super
Jewish
Jewish.
name. But he wrote it under that it's an abridged version of the stories told by this S guy.
S guy, yeah. This phantom
and so
author.
That's the way he wrote it.
It was for his daughters. One daughter wanted a story about a princess, one about a bride, and so he said, "Well, there's the name of the book," and that's where it started.
It was from that area.
Yeah, one was like 7 and 4-year-old kid.
How did this go from a book to a movie?
Very difficultly. You like that word?
Difficultly. That's a great word. We're going to use that word many times.
Many times was tried to make it into a movie. Robert Redford, Norman Jewison, John Borman, they all tried to make it into movies, and it all failed due to production house.
Tried to do this?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, due to unrelated incidents, what are called green lighters. Never heard of that term. Production houses getting closed. Just thing after thing kept falling apart. Eventually, Goldman bought back the rights to the movie, and Rob Reiner, who ended up directing the movie, who did Spinal Tap and The Sure Thing, had garnered a bunch of goodwill at 20th Century Fox. So they offered him any project he wanted, one of his choice, and he picked The Princess Bride. His father, Rob Reiner's father, knows William Goldman. Mm-hmm. In fact, William Goldman gave Rob Reiner's father a copy of The Princess Bride, I want to say in 1974, and Rob Reiner's father gave it to him, and he read the book in his 20s and loved the book. And when he got an opportunity to direct a movie, I guess that's what he went back to.
I got you.
That's a guess. I know he read the book in the 20s, but why he picked it, I'm not for sure. That sounds about right, though.
Let's talk really quickly about some of the casting choices that almost were, because some of these still blow my mind. We have a then unknown, which I don't know, I'd kind of argue that point.
Well, Predator came out the same year as Princess Bride.
Okay, but this was, I guess this would make sense because The Princess Bride came out in 87.
Yeah.
However, this was probably years before when they were trying to get
it. This is probably back, Robert
maybe
Redford.
84 or
early 80s.
Yeah.
When one of the previous directors tried to make it.
And then unknown, Arnold Schwarzenegger was going to play the Andre the Giant character, Fezzik. And then you had, the guy, Vizzini, the Sicilian. The guy who does the poison scene with him, was going to be none other than Danny DeVito. Who would both come together later in 1988 to be the twins. So this movie was really a setup for an even greater movie later on.
An unknown predecessor to the great movie of Twins.
And let's not forget the other team up between Schwarzenegger and DeVito of when he has the baby.
Oh yeah, when Arnold Schwarzenegger gets pregnant.
Yes, I can't remember what that movie is called.
What is the name of that movie?
It doesn't matter. We
you keep talking. I'll find it.
We need to move on. So I mean, there's a lot of great scenes in this movie, but it blows my mind to even try to put those two into this movie because it makes no logical sense. That movie being Junior.
yeah.
You found it for us but I mean, it makes no sense to me those two being there. What that movie could have been would have been terrible.
I think what happened to Princess Bride is perfect.
No, the casting was amazing.
Yes, let's go through the casting. Wesley is Carrie Elwes. Buttercup is Robin Wright. Inigo Montoya is Mandy Patinkin. And Princess Humperdinck is Prince Humperdinck is Chris Sarandon. Count Rugen is Christopher Gust. And
Wallace Shawn as... Oh, he is. Is that Vizzini? Vizzini is the character's name. So
Vizzini is.
There was more. I mean, there's Andre the Giant as Fezzik. Peter Falk as the grandpa, great actor. Peter Cook as I can't read who that is.
Clergyman.
Fred Savage as the grandson.
Yep.
Billy Crystal, of course.
Great Miracle Max.
Almost stealing the show.
Yep.
Might I add. Him and Carol Kane, by the way, as Valerie.
They should. So. Where is the spinoff of those two? That storyline.
I would love, because we did find out in your research that there was a backstory that Billy Crystal and Carol Kane came up with
for their characters,
so that they could play off of each other.
Play this old married couple, and it was like they had been married for hundreds of years. Was the idea,
and so I mean, just an all-star cast, a lot of great scenes. You have the poison scene like we mentioned. You know, the back and forth of but I know but you know.
Yep.
You have you killed my father.
Yep.
I'm Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. You have he's only slightly dead. I mean, this is a movie that is quoted. It's quoted by people even still today.
Every few sentences is a quotable sentence.
It is.
It's an amazing movie. I can't think of another one that is on par with it.
The only thing, I'll be honest, the only thing that I think could have made this movie better is the addition of a young Keanu Reeves.
Amen.
Nick Cage and I'm going to throw
Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris. Yeah.
The trio is what you're going after.
Right.
The trio of power.
It's the only thing that could have made this movie better. I mean, it was a good movie. It was something that I enjoyed as a kid. I enjoy it now. I mean, as an adult, I have a lot deeper appreciation for it as far as the quotes and the lines and the funniness that goes along with it. Oh, and how can I forget the marriage scene? The marriage.
Yeah, marriage.
So, I mean, it was a great movie, although finding out about some of these other casting choices honestly has, it's really opened my eyes to what really could have been a great movie.
What could we have seen?
Yeah, I mean, it would have been something. It would have been something amazing. And here's the thing, at least in the research that I've done, it's amazing to find out that this was a movie that stuck so closely to the book. It really did follow the storyline perfectly.
Outside of the grandfather-grandchild scenes.
Outside of the Peter Falk and I mean, once again, those are written beautifully too. I mean, that's really a great, I don't remember what you call that, but kind of a great encompassing piece.
Yeah.
For
it bookends real good to the storyline.
The story. And there are a few times where the kid interrupts and they have a kind of a funny little scene.
Heartfelt too. You see his at the beginning he hates it and this is dumb and by the end of it middle of it he's like, what happens next?
Yeah. Do you have to be done? And even at the end. And here's the thing is I told you this, there is a sequel that Mr. Goldman was trying to write, and he says that he's tried to sit down and write it, and it makes him mad because he can't do it. Called Buttercup's Baby. He said he just can't capture the same magic that
and I can understand that. That is something. I mean, even in what I do in the writing and even in the programming I do, there are times that inspiration hits you and you just write something that's amazing and you don't know how you did it. And then you go back and you're like, I want to do this again, and you just can't reproduce it.
And I should point out, he also said that of all the things he did, this man has a storied career, which we talk about in the main podcast.
Yes.
Of all the things he did, I'm going to try to say this real fast. All the things he did, he gets more stuff about Princess Bride than anything else because something about that just spoke to people. And that is all we have time for.
It is all we have time for.
That is the final thing I need to throw in there. And guys, thank you for watching the Micro Mini Lightning Cast. We do it, honestly, I kind of enjoy doing this because it's just so quick and just fun.
I don't care. So if you like us, like and subscribe.
I don't care what you have to say, sir. No. You know what? Like and subscribe to us. Thank you for listening. And Eric, any final thoughts?
We have a website coming up called. Its website address is PUC Podcast. PUC Podcast .website.
PUC, of course, if you're having trouble, remember that. Standing for Pull Up a Chair.
Yep.
But yeah, go there, check it out. We're going to have a lot more stuff coming up there fairly soon. Mm-hmm. We're working hard on it, guys. We're possibly even going to have a Patreon in the future. But please keep listening, keep enjoying us. Please like and subscribe and tell us how we're doing.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.